Chicago needs more leaders to step up and sacrifice for the next generation. I think that's the most general way to say it. And all the politics around identity, art really connects us, and it speaks volumes. And I think that the celebration of art and individualism is the angle that we're taking, and bringing people together through the arts.
If you're an artist or creative, interested or curious about what goes on in the world of business and tech, or you're a tech entrepreneur who's interested in being close with fashion designers or musicians, then this show is for you, because it's conversations with the coolest people making it happen at the forefront of technology, culture, business, and the arts. We are back today on another episode of The Intersection, at the intersection of technology and culture, where I have conversations with the coolest people at the forefront of tech, culture, business, and the arts, trying to create common ground and camaraderie from different circles and industries that normally aren't in the same room. Today, I am ecstatic to welcome Sam Thousand, a director, event curator, a performing artist who plays multiple instruments, and in particular the trumpet. He's an expert trumpet player. He's working to improve discoverability and accessibility for artists to promote themselves and to find creative events, specifically in Chicago, with a new platform called ChiBrations. Welcome, Sam, to the intersection.
Thank you. Cue the applause. What's up, man? I'm very happy to be here in the West Loop, Chicago. It's a good vibe out here always. I'm feeling good.
Nice.
Yeah.
How good on the good scale?
I'm feeling just about great. So I'm like right at the tipping point, like right at the threshold between good and great.
Like on the 1 out of 28 scale. Who's ever told you about the 1 out of 28 scale?
I've never heard of the 1 out of 28.
I just made it up.
Okay, all right. It's new. It's new. Y'all gotta catch the wave. You gotta keep up. But 1 out of 28, maybe I would be at about 24.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Right, almost there.
Almost in like the almost there.
I guess to kick it off, it will be cool to get into your story, your life story, your history as a musician, but I would rather get to that later. Let's start off with just you telling us about ChiBrations, your vision for that, and like why you think it's significant to create this kind of platform, why it's needed.
Yeah, so ChiBrations, like Chicago, so it's a soft CH. But yeah, ChiBrations is a forthcoming platform that's going to be aiming to centralize and celebrate the performing art scene in Chicago. So I'm talking about engaging art forms, any type of art forms, from music to comedy to theater to dance to poetry and storytelling. Want to find ways to centralize us so where we're able to amplify ourselves more through our platform, as well as find solutions for common problems that we face.
Well, tell me more about the community bit of it, because you're really involved in a lot of events. And when I was looking at your Instagram page, you have like several posts going for multiple years of you just announcing events with selfie videos like, hey guys, this is happening, da 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 da. And maybe at one point, correct me if I'm wrong, you felt like, man, there's got to be a better way to do this, like than just posting videos on social media, because you know that it probably felt like there's a lot of events happening that people aren't knowing about, and they're cool, good events, and make a platform to make it easier to find out what's going on it.
So what's your question?
The question is, why did you think, why is it difficult right now to find like cool local events, and how are you solving that?
Yeah, so I think it's difficult to find specific types of events, and that's what we're focusing on. We're focusing on a niche audience, which is artists. So it's one thing if we try to find all of the performance artists on the scene and try to collect all of their events and performances, but that's a little overwhelming. And there are people already doing that type of thing. What we want to focus on is open mics, jam sessions, and even discovering how people jam outside of music. How do dancers jam? How do comedians jam? Is it formal? Is it informal? Usually it's both, just like in music. How do creative people jam? Where are these spaces where whatever, I'm saying jam, but maybe they call it something else, but there are these various spaces that these various sectors hang in their circles, and so it's really about the underground. As an artist in any scene, there's stuff that's promoted real heavily, that's more on the visual, the front facing side of things, but then there's always an underground scene, so we are more so catering to that underground scene. We're more so providing information for that underground scene for those who are already there and they're looking for more ways to communicate with each other or to spread the news. So when I say open mics and jam sessions, that really lends itself to a lot of folks who are maybe younger, who are maybe looking for maybe a way to share their music and get some direct response and feedback from it, which is really great for open mics. But also, it's a networking piece as well for open mics and even jam sessions. If you're looking to just expand your audience or really just see who's out there, see what's going on, these are the dwelling spaces where we can get that information. We can talk about things. We can talk about collaborations. We can even, like I said before, talk about issues that we're having and even, talk about solutions for them. Another means of the platform as far as information is resources. It's very difficult to find resources on a widespread general sense. There are some people in Chicago that are killing it with, they know where the grants are, they know where the opportunities are, and they're looking for them. But to the common artists on the scene, a lot of times they don't really know these places to go to, and we want to make it more commonplace to talk about resources for artists. We want to make it more commonplace to talk about grant applications and how to apply for grants or who to reach out to get that assistance with applying for grants. Because we got so many artists out here that have these wonderful ideas, but the main issue is money and funding.
And the grants exist.
Yeah, the grants exist.
And they want to fund cool stuff.
Yes.
So it's such an ironic disconnect because even if, there are various reasons why these grants might not be visible that come from kind of like root issues. It's simultaneously these people, most of these people running these grants want to find people. The people want to find grants, so it's like. Yeah, and I think it's prime time. Our market is Black creatives. It's not exclusively Black creatives, but that's our priority. And even the time right now, it's a sign of the times where a lot of foundations are making sure that Black people are invested
in, and at least there's a portion that's going to Black folks, if not all, or if not most. So. With that being said, there needs to be more of a bridge.
Right.
So it needs to be a bridge to, and this is what we're looking to do. We're looking to be a bridge to the creatives in the city, and we're specifically talking about Greater Chicago. But we also want to be a bridge to the foundations. We want the foundations to be able to say, hey, we have all this money left over, and we're really trying to get in the hands of Black creatives. ChiBrations, can you help us out? And by centralizing, and there's so much power in centralizing, right? And this is one of those ways. By centralizing, we'll be able to be more effective with getting that word out and getting that money more into the artist's hands.
Because unfortunately, especially when it comes to grants, I feel like their reach is so limited.
Yeah, and that's it's a mental thing. It's a mental thing from the grantees side, and it's a mental thing from the grantor side, because I feel like a lot of times, and I've heard other people say this who work closely with these foundations, like, we don't know where the Black people are.
No, for real.
Yeah. And then on a Black artist side, there's this.
Where do I look for a grant?
Is where I look for a grant. Is my idea good enough? This is my first time. Like, I'm just taking a shot in the dark. There's not a lot of support around it. Where there is support that exists, but it's just not. It's not commonplace to even talk about these things. So I'm, as a fellow artist, and I'll be approaching my 10th year as a full-time artist next year in 2024. I'm really trying to step out into the forefront more, and be more of a leader and have these conversations and even sparking these conversations and even creating solutions around it. And ChiBrations is a part of that solution.
What do you think it is about art specifically that's so good at building community or creating those type of environments that promote growth amongst people and create, positive connections, build bridges? Because art in particular does that really well, and that's what you're so focused on.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's crazy that art is steadily being taken out of black schools, but that's a whole nother subject. But I really feel that art is a connector. Art, it definitely transcends, all roadblocks, whether it be all barriers, whether it be language or differences and all the politics around identity. Art really connects us, and it speaks volumes. And I think that the celebration of art and individualism is the angle that we're taking, and really bringing people together through the art. So if we're all creative, if we all have a voice, acknowledging that, celebrating that, making room and space for that, because there's room and space for all of us. But it's also acknowledgement, you know what I'm saying? And just saying, hey, you are a piece to this big puzzle. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It's hard for people to see and understand that they are the city. Like they are, like you as individuals, we are Chicago.
Yes.
And even me as a teenager, that didn't fully click until like I became a little bit older.
Yeah.
Like if things feel outside of you, they always feel like you aren't necessarily. But
Yes. So I have an answer to that question. So, and it really goes in line with what we're about to do at the MCA. So ChiBrations is partnering with the MCA for an event. That's
check that out.
It's on. I don't know when this is gonna air, but it's on September 29th. And this is a part of the celebration of the 50 years of hip hop. And one of the reasons why we're part of this show is that we want to show how hip-hop has transcended even the genre and how it's kind of bled into culture and all type of art
Isn't
forms.
That crazy? Isn't that so interesting?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
People talk about how global it is, but even talking about how it transcends to, to singing and dance and fashion
dance,
and
art,
poetry. You know what I'm saying? That's
fashion,
all a part of it.
Yeah.
But the reason why I brought that up is not only to pub the show, but to provide an example on how there needs to be more of a celebration of the collective individual self. And what I mean by that,
individual self, isn't that an interesting phrase?
That's a very interesting phrase, right? Because it's kind of it's twofold. It's we, but also is my voice.
That's
you know what I'm saying? And both of those matter, and both of those have a place in this conversation, of coming together, and so that's what I love about hip hop in general, is that it was a unique display of that, the collective individual voice, to where it's the we, but it's also, what I got on is expressing how I feel in this moment. What I say and how I speak and my diction expresses how I feel in this moment. How I dance is different from how you dance, but we dance together. You know what I'm saying? How I create art, how I do my visual art or my graffiti or my public art, or whatever you want to call it. I have my own voice within this, and that matters just as much as what we're doing together.
Right. A lot of the messaging of hip hop is about empowering people as a collective, but it's also very aspirational on an individual level. This is where I'm at. This is where I'm trying to get to, or this is where I've been, and this is where I'm at now.
It's a license to express.
Yeah.
And that's all we need, and that's what ChiBrations is all about. It's just about acknowledging and celebrating that individual expression.
What do you think is that balance, or how does that blend together? Because a lot of cultures around the world, like America, is very individual, or you go to East Asia and it's very collective, and it seems like it's opposing things, but not necessarily, as you're saying.
Yes, but art is what brings it all together. Art is the balance, and as long as we're leading with artistic measures, I don't think there will be any major barriers that we'll face, as long as we're leading with artistic measures and leading with love.
Speaking about leading with love, you do this like winter wonderland
Yeah,
event
yeah, yeah.
that celebrates marriage,
Yeah.
which is interesting because you and I discussed before this recording that kind of thing isn't necessarily celebrated here.
Yeah. So, I mean, a really big part of my MO is just really filling voids. You know what I'm saying? I'm very solutions based, but I'm also artistic. So I'm just melding those together, finding ways, creative ways to create solutions, create homes for people and for concepts that need a home. You know, and I think ultimately, even with ChiBrations as well, it's like there's so many artists in the city, but where are they? Where do they go? Where is this thing that really anchors them in what's going on in the city? And for the thing with my wife, Royal Couple, we started last year this event centered around a winter ball. And last year it was a winter wonderland. That was the theme. And so we had tickets for couples and we had tickets for singles. And we really marketed this towards couples because we wanted to essentially in the same way lead with love and find a way to celebrate couples and create a space and a home for them to dwell and to be acknowledged and affirmed, you know, because marriage is really tough. You know, I can say that, 2 years being married, marriage is really tough. It's something that you have to continuously work on, and you have to be present in it on a daily basis, and it is not just about yourself. You know, it's all about sacrifice, making room, holding space, and there's always this. Through all the things we do in life, there's always this, or at least from my perspective, there's always this, if I want to do it faster, I can do it alone. If I want to do it further, we got to do it together, And in this moment, in this season of my life, I'm very much trying to go further and do some lasting things. And two of those things would be what we just mentioned, the ChiBrations platform in general, and also with Royal Couple.
Because you're right. It's almost about putting the other person's well-being just as much as your own to be able to continue to invest into them even if it's difficult. And
I mean, like in marriage and partnership?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What has that process been like for you? Like, maybe you have encountered some difficulties and you take a step back and you say, for me to be the better person, I'm going to continue to invest in this versus like dismiss it or...
Yeah, I mean, marriage is just like any other partnership, but it's way more intimate, and it's way more upfront, So with any partnership, you got to understand that you're collaborating. You got to understand that it's not just about your ideas and in your way and your direction. It's about finding that common ground. And just like any partnership or any relationship, there will be disagreements. There will be even arguments sometimes, but it's really about understanding that you both are there in love and both are there to express and to live your best life, and as long as, there's no harm being done, we can both step away from any type of disagreement or misunderstanding or argument and understand that, hey, that's just a part of it. You know what I'm saying? With any partnership, not just marriage, there's going to be those type of difficulties and there's going to be a need for difficult situations, but it has always been easier to quit, but to be able to stick it out and even step away when you need to, and just give it some space and then come back and regroup. It's all necessary. It's all a part of it. We have to learn how to work together. And, we understand the more and more we try to work together that it is difficult, but we understand that there's such a big payoff, when we get where we're going and we're able to celebrate with each other as opposed to just cheers to myself. You know what I'm saying? It's about the team. It's about the collective.
Going off of that, what you literally just described between two people, I think can be applied to an entire society itself. And you and I have talked about your thoughts and intentions between creating a more unified Chicago, creating a more loving, inclusive space. So, what do you think Chicago needs to have that kind of collective empowerment?
Yeah, I think Chicago needs more of. Chicago needs more leaders to step up and sacrifice for the next generation. I think that's really what it is. I think that's the most general way to say it. I feel like that's what I'm doing with ChiBrations. You know, I could be an artist and going on tour right now. It's my season. What I feel like I need to be doing is creating solutions and creating this platform that's going to help the next generation. I just think that as long as people are being obedient to that push that is within them and that's in their spirit to create solutions for these problems that we see every day, as long as they're being obedient through that, then we're going to be okay. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get closer and closer to realizing and manifesting this vision. You know, it's a collective vision. It's a sign of the times. We're not the only one who are having this conversation and who are desiring this. Even I think Thought Poet said it in your conversation as well. Like, we're not the only one having these conversations.
Right.
You know, so the question is okay, so what now? You know, action is now. That's what it's about. And so action, even if you don't know fully how it's going to look, you know, if it's in your spirit, understand that there's a part of your spirit that operates in faith. You know what I'm saying? And you may not know exactly what every step is going to be, but you put one step after the next.
Yeah, I always like to tell people to learn how to strive joyfully.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you are working really hard, you're putting a lot of energy out there, but you're killing yourself through the process, then that's going to translate. That's going to express itself through what you do.
Yes. That's so real, bro. Like, I had been coming out of a deep place of just like despair and just, you know, depression and trying to figure out. This was like some months back, and I did a lot of writing, and one of the things that I arrived at was enthusiasm, and joy is a part of that. And I was just like, everything that I do, I just want to have more and better enthusiasm about how I show up, about how I converse, how I just move, just because I want that to permeate through everything that I do and say, and I also want that to permeate through the interactions that I have with other people, because I am mentally preparing to be more of a leader and a better leader. When this platform launches, there'll be more interviews, there'll be more conversations, there'll be more interactions that are even more fickle or more sensitive, you know, because they're first impressions, you know, like, now you got this, so what now, you know, what is it, you know? And so I'm just trying to mentally prepare myself for that light, and a big part of that is joy and enthusiasm. It's really big.
Absolutely. Because you could look at someone like a Steve Jobs or a Elon Musk, and maybe they created all this impact and innovation, but think about how if maybe they were more joyful, then they wouldn't be exploiting people in cobalt mines. They wouldn't be all these resources that are going to create a Tesla or an iPhone. Think about how much destruction that also entails. And maybe if they were more joyful, then those things wouldn't have perpetuated themselves. So that's the kind of approach I tell people to take, because you can be ragefully productive, but it only gets you so far. So you do a whole lot of live performances. You're big on live music.
Yes. I've been a performing artist for over 15, 16 years. Yeah.
Tell us the history.
Yeah. So, you know, I've been playing the trumpet since I was 7, but I started singing and writing around age 19. So it's been about 17 years. I'm 36 now. So yeah, I mean, I got out of college after a year. I was just like, I don't want to be in academia. I want to be on the scene. I want to explore and explore expression and explore feeling through art, particularly music. And so I started playing trumpet with some bands. I started singing and writing. I started performing as a lead vocalist, you know, for the first few times in like around age 19 or 20. And I moved to Chicago when I was around 22, and I went full time 4 years later at 26. And so, 27. And so, man, when I went full time, I had no choice. Like I was playing with a band called Sidewalk Chalk. We were a hip hop, jazz, soul band that we decided we wanted to tour full time, and so we all quit our jobs in 2014. And once we were coming off of that first big tour, it was like a 2-month tour. I was coming back with little money because it was our first tour. You know what I'm saying? It was a seed. We planted a lot of seeds, and so coming back home after that tour, I had like a moment. I was not coming back home to a job. I was not coming back home to a safety net. Thank God Uber was there, but I hit the scene running. I started sending out a lot of emails and was like, man, I'm just going to try to book as many gigs for myself as I've ever done. And that turned into getting my first residency, to getting some really cool accounts for private events. And then eventually turned to me being a music curator at a couple venues and bringing in other band members and essentially my friends, just like, throwing gigs to friends, but also being able to book for venues and bringing in friends to do their own gigs and do their own performances and put on their own special shows. And so, it just eventually brought itself to creating opportunities for other people. At the same time, I'm still performing. I'm still increasing my clientele, and now it's kind of like a culminating factor because I just put out my first live album, which came out in August, and I'll be releasing vinyl for that live record October 4th. So I'm doing a big vinyl release at Dorian's, which is my favorite speakeasy in Chicago. Actually, a big amount of my history performing in Chicago has been speakeasies. I like these, these intimate spaces, low lit, sexy vibe, super vibey. But it's also kind of polished in a way. It's not like a dive bar, right? Yeah. You want to kind of like, put something nice on. You want to bring a date. You want to impress. You know what I'm saying?
Parties.
Nah.
Been in too many of those.
Yeah. I mean, I do those too.
Functions.
Hey, I do it all. But when it comes to like really trying to set a vibe and branding as well, a big part of my branding is this kind of like sexy, soulful, like date night type of vibe. And so I've had some fellas come to me and be like, hey, thank you for setting the vibe, you know what I'm saying? Because they know that the lady is feeling good and, maybe a nightcap tonight, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's just a big part of how I've branded myself throughout the years. And I'm just excited that I'm able to like venture more off into being more of a leader and a thought leader in creating more opportunities for artists and the collective whole as well.
What is you mentioned a residency? Does that just mean you're like locked in with a venue who brings you consistently?
Yes. Or I look at it the other way.
Okay.
I bring for them consistently. Okay. Yeah. Because I mean, the artist is a commodity. We talked about that earlier. The artist is a commodity. And if you're an artist out there and you're looking to book more gigs or you're looking to get more money through your work, you got to understand that you are the prize. You are what's wanted, and you being in a space that's bringing art to the space, whether it's performance art or whether it's any other type of art, that is your value. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
And so when I would play at a place where I would bring out a crowd, and maybe they notice a significant difference, I should say.
Right.
When I'm there, there's more of a line at the door. When I'm there, they get more money at the bar. You know what I'm saying?
People are like having a better time.
Yeah, people are having a better time. I've had one time a venue tell me, when you're here, people they stay longer.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
big.
So, that's big.
Yeah, that's really big. And so when I hear that, I'm like, cool, let's talk about this. You know what I'm saying? And so that's how I negotiated my first residency. Well, let me be here more often. You know what I'm saying? Let's do it like this. So for my first residency, I did like every Thursday in this 1 month, and for every week I just did a different show. And so that was the attraction. There was a reason why somebody would come to the same venue to see the same artist multiple times because it was different shows.
I actually did some consumer insight research for my consultancy that I do that with, and I talked to a bunch of restaurant owners, and the number one thing they valued most when they're trying to, like, how do you get new business or how do you care about getting new business from a third party, it was getting people to stay longer and to come again. If the customer doesn't come again and again, and the more they come, otherwise the restaurant doesn't care. If they come once and they leave, the restaurant doesn't care. So.
Yeah, there's so much value. I mean, in any type of business, you're really hanging your hat on that repeat customer, you know, which is the reason for so much ongoing promotion, and marketing dollars is so much of a big part of the budget in general. Is you're just trying to get more people through that threshold, and artists are the reason. Artists are the reason, at least from my perspective, as it pertains to performance art.
I agree.
You know, if you got a stage and nobody's on it, it's just a waste of space. You know what I'm saying?
It is. I've seen that before.
And then this is Chicago, so like, you know, you got a lot of options on the type of art that you can bring in, the type of performance art and engaging art forms you can bring in, and the talent level is really high. You know what I'm saying? So you really are doing a disservice when you got an empty stage in your space and you're not really maximizing that. And so, you know, part of what I do is help venues and spaces activate their spaces, and then another part as well is just really trying to help convey to the artist that that's where the value is.
Yeah, for sure. And it's interesting you say that, because it clicked in my head just how clear that is once the artist is like a celebrity, because these venues will break their back to try and get so and so to show up, because then everybody's gonna want to come.
Yeah, and that's what helps with artists locally. If you're a local artist like myself and you've been performing, you're like a household name like myself, then you really have to understand that there are levels to it, you know. And if you're performing everywhere every week, you know, that doesn't hit as hard and doesn't have as much impact as it is if you were performing rarely and you know, there's this really big event that you're trying to do, and it's something that, you know, venues, they gotta have it happen at their venue, and they're looking to, you know, break their back or do whatever you need in order to make that happen. So that's actually the space that I'm going into now. I've been performing 100 to 125 shows a year for the last 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And there's different variety of shows. You know, a lot of them are private, or, you know, some are public. Some are with my band, some are with other bands. But now it's time for me to kind of pull back and do more specially curated shows. And so I'm excited for October 4th, where my vinyl release is happening. We're doing a special show with cuisine. So we're blending music and cuisine. My friend Chef Erica and Island Tings, they're coming through.
I think I saw the post about
this. Yeah. So it's really exciting. And admission to that event gets you the show. It gets you signed vinyl, and it gets you food.
Get you a plate? Okay.
Yeah,
you gotta get you a plate.
Definitely.
Wow, 125 shows a year for 10 years. That's a lot of shows, bro.
Yeah, I mean, full time. If you're gonna be a full time artist, you got to be full time, and you know, it starts off where, you know, I guess in the grand scheme, you know, some of those are well paying gigs, and some of those are gigs where you're just like, this is a fun gig, you know, even though it's not paying that much. This is a fun gig. I love the music, or I love the people, or I love the place, or I get fed as well. You know what I'm saying? I'll take this, you know, smaller pay in order to make it happen. But it's really just about, you know, getting the reps in. You know what I'm saying? I know that even if I take a break on shows, and I plan on touring soon, you know, I know that performing comes natural to me and to my band. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, it ain't gonna be nothing for us to hit the road.
Yeah, no shade to a lot of artists I know, but they're not doing nothing compared to that. Like, they have to step their game up. They got to perform more.
Yeah, but maybe they're recording more, you know.
Oh,
and so
that's true.
And so that's something that I'm actually doing more, and as I'm stepping back, you know, so my identity is going to be kind of going more, and on an artist standpoint, it's going to be going more from the performance artist to more of a recording artist. Because I got like 4 projects sitting right now. I got my first project coming out. That's beyond this live project that I just dropped. My first studio project is coming out this fall. And I'm just excited for people to hear recorded work. You know what I'm saying? I haven't released a full project since, 2017.
You said you did this live album. I don't even know if I've ever heard the term live album.
Yeah.
The only live song I know that I listen to consistently is No Woman, No Cry from Bob Marley.
Yeah. Dun, 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 and then the crowd go, ah! I love that record, man. Yeah. I love the interaction with the audience. You know what I'm saying?
Was it like that?
Yeah.
Is that what you did?
Yeah.
Record it?
And that's the reason why I did it, is because, you know, I'm all about being a leader and a trendsetter and doing things that are different, doing things that are kind of leading a wave, right? And so Chicago is full of performing artists, but no, that you're right, that's not happening. They're not. I don't even know if they're even thinking about the idea of or the concept of recording a live record. But my band, man, in 2019, we were like at our apex, and I was just like, man, we got so much great momentum. Like every show we do is like a line at the door. It's crowded. We got people just dancing and sweating all night. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like a wonderful, dope, a dope moment to capture. And so, like I said, in 2019, at that time I'd been like 2 years since I dropped a project. And this project was supposed to come out in 2020, but we had the pandemic, of course.
Wow.
But
it makes sense. You were going crazy in 2019.
Yeah, and so many artists were, man. 2019 was a great year for a lot of folks. But we wanted to capture this vibe in our show, and I proposed it to the band. They were all down, and so I really just put in place, all the elements that it would take to record a live record. I had done a live record with Sidewalk Chalk before. We got 4 albums. One of those albums were recorded live on the road. We actually did a tour, and we just recorded every show, and we put the album out by just finding the best takes. So I knew, I needed to get an engineer. I needed to get a mixing engineer that does, live records. I knew I needed to, really rehearse with the band, because we didn't even really do much rehearsing during all of these these years of doing these shows. I'm like Miles Davis, man. I like to rehearse on stage. I like to rehearse in front of people, because that's when it really matters, But we can talk more about that. But this live record itself was recorded at the Promontory in Hyde Park, which is a premier venue on the South Side. Yeah, shout out to the Promontory, and they really broke their backs to make this happen there, because they wanted this to happen there, and they were like, whatever you need. And so I was like, man, this is love. You know what I'm saying? This is powerful. And we had a nearly sold out show, and this live record we cut, like, we literally recorded the show. There were no breaks and no stops. Oh, let's do that again. No, we're recording, y'all. Let's do that again.
The whole album.
It was the whole album was recorded live. Unique. Yeah, and to get people to come out and to kind of have a bonus and make it a special night for the audience, we premiered 6 brand new songs.
Nice.
Yes, we premiered 6 brand new songs, original songs, and so people were hearing them for the first time, and it was going on a record. So for that, during the pandemic, I was just holding on to this record. I was like, I'm not going to put it out during the pandemic. This is a live record. You know what I'm saying? So held onto it. And then in the meantime, since we had footage, I was like, let's put a documentary together. So we put together a feature-length documentary. It's about 46 minutes.
Wow.
We premiered that at the Silver Room Block Party Film Festival this year. And now we're releasing vinyl. So this live record, it has...
it's not out yet?
The live record is out.
Okay.
It's on streaming platforms, but this live record is coupled or paired, not even paired or coupled. It's a 3-piece, so it's amongst a documentary and vinyl as well. So it's just a full package, and I'm excited to be releasing it all on the 4th.
That's very within your creative process and how you produce your work, how you engage with people. It's very unique. It's very unconventional. You have a lot of ideas. That's dope. If you could only listen to one genre of music for the rest of your life, what would it be? They said, Sam Thousand, you only have one genre.
I mean, genres are malleable.
That's true. Isn't
you know what I'm saying?
Isn't
but yeah, and genres are becoming more and more obsolete, but that's tough. I mean, I would have to say jazz.
Okay, nice.
I would have to say jazz
like
because, when we think of jazz, when most people think of jazz, they may think of instrumental, but I like a lot of vocal jazz.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the jazz idiom in general is there's so much depth, you know what I'm saying? It's a part of the lineage of classical music, but it's Black American music, and I feel like being able to be being stuck with jazz is not being stuck with jazz. It's actually being enriched with jazz for the rest of my life because there's so much language and so much history in it. And yeah, I think I could rock with that. I play trumpet and I sing. I would have a various amount of different instrumentalists and as well as a vocalist as well.
I ran into this girl a couple of days ago who said she doesn't like jazz, and I was like, how?
Man, well, you know, everybody got their own taste, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody got their own taste, and maybe it's also not the right season, you know what I'm saying? Like, think about a food that you didn't like when you was a kid, but now you smash as an adult, you know what I'm saying?
I don't really dislike any food. I'm a very unpicky eater.
Nice.
I'll try anything.
Nice. That's what's up. You were smashing octopus when I met you here.
Oh, yeah. I love squid on sushi.
Oh, squid. It was squid.
Was it? I don't know. I smashed an octopus too.
Right.
One time I told my homie, I'll try any food if I haven't tried it yet. He said, will you eat a raw egg? I said, well, I haven't tried it yet. So I ate the raw egg at the fridge and it wasn't good. I won't do that again.
Oh, man, what was that experience like?
That's how it was.
You just got to just take it straight to the head. You can't be marinating on a yolk, on a raw yolk.
It doesn't have to be your top 3, but off the top, if... starting tomorrow, you could only listen to 3 artists,
man,
for the rest of your life. Doesn't gotta be top 3.
Is there a particular like of today? Is there a particular? Maybe can you hone in a little bit more for me?
Yeah, in a broad perspective, like out of all time.
All time.
Yeah, 3
that
artists
doesn't hone it in for me.
That you would that you would be comfortable with listening to the rest of your life. Like, just like, okay, if I had to do this, all right.
That's tough. That's tough.
I'd be okay with it.
I would have to listen to. I'm just gonna stick with our time right now because man, that's just tough. That's tough.
Our time.
One of my all-time favorites is Bob Marley.
Oh wow,
you
me
know
too.
What I'm saying? But I would say of our time, I know Anderson .Paak has to be one of those.
Oh, okay.
Because Anderson .Paak has so much fun recording.
You can hear it in the music.
You can hear it, and I just love the joy. And I think that type of music is something that I want to be able to, just to like be the soundtrack of my joy and my enthusiasm. You know what I'm saying? So that'll be one. Of today, I will also think of someone like, maybe Georgia Ann Muldrow, because she's a producer and an artist, rapper, singer, lyricist. But I just love the eclecticism in her writing and in her concepts and songs and albums. And what I love most is just the inspiration, you know what I'm saying, behind her writing. It's very heartfelt, you know, and it's soulful. So I rock with that. And then another artist of today would be Bakar, because he's like super alternative. It's a brother that's doing like a mix of punk, rock, soul, a little jazz, some heady stuff, you know what I'm saying? Some danceable stuff, some real like eclectic, like deep and weary stuff, you know what I'm saying? So I just want to be able to capture these moods of like eclecticism and depth, but also, you know, joy and fun as well.
Nice. What are a couple of your favorite event spaces in Chicago?
Oh yeah, this is dope. So event spaces, so not spaces that are you talking about event spaces as a whole that are like, so not bars. You're talking about just like spaces that hold events where you can just come in and set up shop and do something in particular.
Well, sometimes they blend with bars.
Yeah,
too.
Sometimes they blend. That's the reason why I'm asking. There's a lot, but maybe I can just name off a few places that I performed in. One of which is Dorian's. I would say Dorian's, like I said, is my favorite speakeasy in Chicago. It's a record shop up front. If you just walking by, you just see a record shop, but that's what makes it dope as a speakeasy. If you walk through the record shop, you actually come into this room that is like a really dope, low lit, like, you know, dark wood vibe with candle lights, and has a stage. It has a bar. And it has really unique and sophisticated seating, you know what I'm saying, to where it feels nice and intimate. So that's one of the spots. Untitled is another dope speakeasy that I used to play at. I used to actually book for them for 4 years.
Where are these places?
So Dorian's is in Wicker Park. Untitled is in River North. That's a really dope spot. It's a restaurant as well, a Michelin-rated restaurant. And it has this huge stage, probably one of the biggest stages in Chicago, actually. That's for like a bar venue, you know. So that's dope. I like.
We can jump to the next question.
Yeah.
So to wrap this up, what can people look forward to with ChiBrations? Like, what should they keep a lookout for? Or what are your next steps? What should artists be excited about? And even for the tech and business people, I know a lot of them out there who they keep asking this question: where are the artists at? How do I find them? Where are the events? It's just kind of like, you know, separate from their mind, and they would have to do work. So why should they look forward to it as well?
Yeah, I can answer that question first. I mean, I'm always trying to find efficient ways to work smarter, not harder. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing if you're trying to capture each and every performance by each and every artist in the city, but what ChiBrations is doing is trying to capture these spaces where artists dwell as collectives. You know what I'm saying? And that's the reason why we're promoting jam sessions and open mics, artist features, and professional development events for artists. And so we want to be the hub for like where artists intersect and where they meet each other, where they collab, where they find new ways to work with each other and solve problems together. So that's what we're trying to do. So if you're looking for what ChiBrations is doing next, definitely just follow us. We're mostly prominent on Instagram. We're working on a website right now, and also our app and media platform, I should say, which will be an app as well as a web app where you can check out more of these elements that we've been talking about. So that's on the tech side, because, you know, we want to use technology to bring us together, to help solve some problems. And one of those big problems is that big question, like, where are the artists? Where can we find them? You know, for artists themselves, it's like, where can I share this music where it's going to be impactful? You know what I'm saying? And so that's another problem that we're looking to solve, or another question that we're looking to answer. If you're looking for what we're doing next, come out to the MCA on the 29th. On the 29th, we are doing this collaboration with the MCA, celebrating the 50th year of hip hop. It's also in partnership with the Black Arc, which is by Gary Simmons, the artist. He built this arc that is a functional piece of artwork. It's a stage, but it also has these really unique and vibrant speakers that are built on the back of the stage, and they are functional, so they are amplifying music, and it's a piece of artwork. It's an art installation, and so we will be on that stage. We will be playing through that stage, and that's going to be happening on the 29th. What's so dope about this collaboration with MCA for this 50th year hip hop is we want to show through performance art, through various art forms, how hip hop has affected and infected all these different sectors of performance art. You know what I'm saying? It's come from the inside, you know. And so we'll have poetry, we'll have comedy, we'll have a MC cipher. It's gonna be dope. This cipher is gonna have about 7 to 8 MCs and singers, along with b-boys, b-girls, and along with visual art and live graffiti. So we're actually taking you to the corner. We're actually taking you to the streets and showing how this camaraderie through this performance art and then this collective individual expression is happening in our city today.
It'll be next Friday.
Yep, it'll be next Friday.
Yeah, this podcast comes out next Sunday.
Oh man, it's all good. It's all good. Well, you just missed it. If you weren't there, you just missed it. You just got to check out the recap. You got to check out the recap. But you can definitely come to the October 4th vinyl release, and you can find that find the info on that. But as far as ChiBrations, what you can look forward to is more interaction and interviews with performance artists in the city, and not just music, but we're talking about the whole gambit, you know, and just asking that question, you know, how do you jam? You know what I'm saying? How do you work together? How do you collaborate and build off of each other? You know, where are these like open mic forums where you get to share new works? You know what I'm saying? Where is that for the theater world? You know what I'm saying? Where is that for the dance world? You know, we want to talk about those things.
That would be so cool. Like me personally, you know, I have years and years of seeing people host open mics, going to them myself, and yet if someone asked me today, where are the open mics, I would have to go searching for them across a bunch of people's profiles on Instagram, essentially.
Same, yeah. I mean, I'm not dwelling in them because that's where I was my first 4 years in the city. You know, I was always in open mics, you know. But that's what I love about it, is because as a veteran on the scene, you know, I've been here for about 15 years now. Like, I love the fact that this is causing me to look and see where the young folks are. Because that's the future, right? And to be able to go to these various open mics and be able to highlight, not only highlight these open mics, but be able to go to these various open mics and say, hey, here's a platform for you. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what it means to really sacrifice for the next generation, or at least from my point of view, and what I can do with my story. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is.
That's beautiful, because I wish I had a place where I could just pop on and, oh, okay, these are the open mics going on. But then also, me, in a way, I'm also like a talent scout. I have people I like to bring onto the show. We do artist development at Rivet. I love just going to see where the next creatives are and feeling enthusiastic about what their growth is, trying to give them a platform. So thank you so much for joining me today, Sam. This was amazing. You are Sam 1,000 trillion billion.
That's just Sam 1,000.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it.